how can you grip over yourself? How can you have a grip over yourself? It's your very being. You can't catch hold of your own being. That is the trouble. That's the miserable part of it. Yes, you were asking something?
Yeah, I had heard a story of Aurobindo coming to one of the Mandali in a dream, asking one of them to tell Baba to give him liberation, because he was about to die.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. Might have.
I heard it was you.
Me? Then you have been wrongly informed by somebody.
You have a good story we have at our dinner time.
You know what I heard? I heard that Baba took you aside and told you who his lovers were who haven't met him, and how they were, what they looked like, all these people. There's this one in America who will come later when I drop him, and there's this one in France, and there's this one. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Baba really told you that? No. It's really true?
Was one of them me? Was one of them me? Do we have longer out here?
What to say? You know, he did say one thing. He didn't describe to us each one of them, but he, not once, not twice, I should say half a dozen times, and more so just before he dropped his body. He brought the picture to us, you see, about those who had not seen him but who were close to him. And they would be coming over here. Each one a gem of his. With such feeling he would describe it, but not describing the physiognomy. Or
that's right, but what you just said, that I heard, yes. That I believe, yeah. But
that's what was
told,
there.
yeah.
So that's what I had told them, you see, nothing more than that.
No, because somebody said...
And he said that they would come, you see, in large numbers. They would be here, and beware, they will just brush you aside, just throw you away, and they will come in such a tide, you see. That's it. So this is what we heard from him repeatedly, and once or twice I told somebody who asked whether Baba knows that we have been coming to him. So that's how I told them. Yes, he had told, not knows, but he told us about it. And what to tell you about the stories, the stories of tongues wag, all sorts of stories are woven around different people. It's no sooner Baba dropped the body, one day somebody came, a responsible person, and he comes in the morning and says, "You are here, still here? What's the matter today?" I said, "What's the matter today?" "Well, it's every day with me. I am here at Merazal. What makes you feel that?" "Oh, but we have been hearing stories that you pass your nights, you see, at the tomb there, and Baba comes out of the tomb and gives you instructions and directions, and you come here later in the day, you see, in the afternoon you come here." I said, "Who told you that?" "Well, if he wants to give us instructions and anything, you see, can he not give us here? Why should I go to the tomb?" Yeah. So people think like that. Silly stories, you see.
I know. This thing is not to listen to them, really.
Yes, that's right. Nowadays, when somebody tells me a story, I always ask who they heard it from.
Nowadays, if someone tells me a story, I just don't listen unless...
I always ask where they heard it.
No, but don't what do you call, have that attitude, Christine, because sometimes something might come up there, you see, and if you develop that attitude, then it becomes absolutely total indifference, Just...
But it's common sense.
That's what.
If it sounds, okay.
Yeah, then okay, then accept
it. But
it.
if it doesn't sound acceptable, then I listen, but I don't dwell
register.
on it.
Don't register. That's
No.
all. That's how it is. But remember one thing again and again, he has also said, nothing is impossible. Yeah, he has said that also. So that we may not be indifferent, we may not be callous towards these things. And so, it's true.
Sometimes when I hear stories about what Baba did or Baba said or whatever, it doesn't seem like the picture I have of Baba. Like some of it seems a little, well, like what he tells you to be careful about people doing miracles and saying strange things and this pink cloud stuff. It doesn't sound like the down-to-earth Baba that you feel so much, you see. And a lot of times it's the same thing like you say. If it doesn't strike true, it just doesn't strike true.
It
It
either
just
does or
doesn't
it
fit
doesn't,
anything
yeah.
that you feel about Baba at all. It sounds like somebody else who's playing around with things or something.
But it's a good idea to ask where
Yeah,
from.
oh, of course, but even,
No.
yeah.
Because if they
Well, I
say,
think of some of the stories I've heard.
yeah.
I mean, I just don't know where they originate. They originate somewhere, and then they get...
You know these stories formerly at Sai Baba's place. If somebody has visited Sai Baba's place, you see, there's a big township now. Formerly there was nothing. I tell you, there was nothing. It was barren land, just simple little structures over there, one or two structures there. But then it so happened that people from the south came, you see, to the north. South India came to the north. And especially there was one person who had come over here trying to collect the stories of the great masters of the time. So he even had come to Baba, asking the people around him. And you know, while Baba is with us, we are so busy and preoccupied that we don't care. On the contrary, you ask Pendu. Pendu was one of them, you see, who used to play fool around this man, you see, who had come with great anxiety and eagerness to collect stories. They would just sit there, you see, and play cards or do something like that. Yeah, to us it mattered very little. But then by the time Sai Baba dropped the body, and there were people who started telling them stories about Sai Baba, and he compiled all of them. And the book, after it was published, it went round all over India. And just reading those stories brought the crowd to him. And therefore there are thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who come there to the shrine just because of the stories. You see? Whether the stories are authentic or whether they are just a fantasy of people's love and devotion, well, we don't care for it. World doesn't care for it. But they are printed. Here they are. Here I can read it. You see, black and white. So to some who are genuinely affected by the love of the Lord, to them, well, is it the Lord who will be working this way or not? But to the masses, it's all right. But that's also helpful. That brings them to his threshold. In time to come, after incarnations, they will be genuinely feeling the warmth of his love then. But this is the stepping stone that entices them, you see. Yeah. You have to, this is sort of an advertisement, you see. Come on, come inside and see the show, you see, that's how it is. It's like that. People do that.
But some people do need that sense of sensationalism in their life. They're such a drab existence.
They need that. Well, he caters to the need of all. You know, this reminds me of an incident in the life of a perfect master. There were disciples of perfect master, and the perfect master told those disciples, you see, to tell the people about the truth. Tell them about him and what he brings, the treasure. So they would go around the places, you see, and nobody would want to pay any heed. People were preoccupied, you see, in their farming and business and doing jobs and all that. Nobody cared for it. So they returned. Nothing happened, Master. Again, Master sent them to. So they again. So then the Master said that, well, cater to their needs, you see, what they want. Their wants are quite different, you see, from this. So he says, what should we do? He says, I guess some good, beautiful dancing girls, you see. and advertise tom-tom, you see, that there will be singing and dancing, you know. Let the crowd come, you see. And in the very midst of their, engrossment over there, stop the play there and give out the messages, you see. So at least the thing goes to their ear, you see. If it goes to their ear, that doesn't mean that they will all go there. But that's the beginning. That's how the seed is sown, you see. And that's how gradually, after incarnations and incarnations, the resultant effect is shown. So do you think that you are having come, you see, we ask somebody, says, how many months have passed? I have heard of Baba only past 2 months, some say 2 years, some say 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. But does that mean that this is as a result of this? No. It's as a result of many incarnations. Your association with Him, with His word. It's not that easy, you know. Just we are heard, but this is just an excuse that has been given, you see. It's like the lock, you see, with a particular number, you see, or a code letter that is fitted there, and just at the time it opens. Oh, it's that. And then you plunge. It opens now. Then you start drawing out all the treasure that you have stored, you see, which has become rubbish, which is something precious, which is something to do away with, to burn it, to keep it again, to polish it again and keep it, and so forth. In the age of everything you say, instant, the resultant effect should be instantaneous. So we are impatient, yes. Well, we have gone through yoga practices, we have gone through asanas, we have gone through meditation, we have gone through transcendental meditation, we have gone through, what do you call that? There is another sort of meditation now, they call it, what do they call, you see, that Rajneesh's meditation, where you just pour out your feelings, you see, you dance naked and do this and do that and all that. What is this called?
Group therapy.
What is the word that you use? Yeah, the cry and the scream, you know, like your subud, you know. So it's like that. So many ways, you see. And after going through all that again, you calm down, become sober, and then try to think about it. Then you come gradually, threshold. You see how blessed now we all are, that now it's time that we should now think of things, settle down and think of things. Sort out, and then determine to be His or not to be His. But there is no way out. Unless you be His, there is no way out. Today you don't feel inclined to be so. Well, don't feel inclined to be so. After a year, you still don't feel inclined to be so. Well, it doesn't harm, no harm. It doesn't matter. Another year. But now that you have come, you will have to determine yourself to be His. There is no way out. Hello, Peter. Well, today you seem to be a bit better.
Could you explain, a long time ago, the Whim of God was explained sort of to me, but I was wondering if you'd explain it. The first whim.
Whim of God?
The first whim, that's what it was called, the first whim, when like God finally realized that He was God.
Yeah. So how can I explain His whim, you see? Inexplicable, you see. The thing is that the whim is whim. And if we were to, designate any time or situation or a particular stage, it won't remain as a whim. He got the whim to know Himself, you see. That's the primal whim. as Baba calls it in God Speaks. Whim is whim, so you can't fix a date for it or a time for it or any situation or circumstance for it. It's just a whim to know himself. And know himself means, who wanted to know himself? Who? The all-knowing wanted to know himself. Huh?
I don't know, that one confuses me. I mean, when I think of God knowing himself, does that mean that he took a physical body and he went through all these things and then finally
Why do you associate him with the body now?
No, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because certain things come in and certain things go out.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just a period of confusion right now where I'm confused about it.
It is it's not that easy. Do you mean to say that my trying to explain to you means that I know it?
No, I was wondering like if Baba...
what we have gathered, you see, at the feet of Baba, we just try to recall and narrate it. So what I have gathered is just this, that's something which we call God in his is state. That's something, eternal, infinite existence. Which is everything, had the whim to know himself. So with the whim projected two things that were latent. He being everything, everything was within himself. You see. And in a state there was a whim expressed to know himself, and that whim was expressed in the one who was all-knowing. For the all-knowing to express through his whim, who am I? Naturally it was so contradictory in its very nature for the all-knowing to express this whim as to who am I. So fundamentally it so happened that diametrically opposite experience was there. For the all-knowing, mind you, as again Baba puts it, for the all-knowing, want to know who am I. So the first experience that he had was diametrically opposite to his being all-powerful. You see? So his consciousness, his awareness at the time was, know what you are. You are the most rudimentary of the forms. You are the most rudimentary of existence, which is a form of non-existence. He was in existence infinite and eternal, you see. So simultaneously two things projected, infinite consciousness and infinite unconsciousness. The product of infinite consciousness gave him the experience of being what he is. His true self, omnipotent, omniscient. And his infinite unconsciousness brought in these products, like his infinite unconsciousness associating itself with this, that, the gaseous form, this whole thing. So then the infinite unconsciousness begins to evolve itself and go towards, from unconsciousness towards consciousness. So the whole theme of this creation is from unconscious state to become conscious. And a very good example that Baba has given us is about you. He has said, when you are in sound sleep state, are you aware of yourself? In sound sleep state?
In sound sleep?
Are you conscious of your surrounding? Are you conscious of your being?
No.
In sound sleep state? Then who can be conscious of your being? I, who watched you in sound sleep state. Other than yourself. You see? So what happens, you see, when you are in sound sleep state? Does the world disappear? The world continues to disappear. Yes, everything disappears as far as you are concerned. As far as you are concerned, nothing is there except your being. Except your being is there. And that is known as the is state of God, that is in the beyond state. You see the darkish color there? Dark grey there, almost tending towards the absolute there. Then comes the blue state, in the beyond state, where he gets the whim, you see, to know who he is. when he is just about to wake up, you see, with all of a sudden he gets this whim as to who am I? And two things simultaneously project out, ejected out of him, which were all dormant in him, latent in him, simultaneously, infinite consciousness and infinite unconsciousness. With infinite consciousness, he was conscious of his being the infinite. With infinite unconsciousness, he was conscious of his being limited. And both limitations and limitlessness were in him, because he is the everything. If he is the everything, then nothing must also be incorporated, is in everything, isn't it? Everything cannot be everything, unless and until the nothing is also in it. You follow? So that's how the theme of God speaks continues.
It's like what Baba tells the parable of the ant that was out collecting food, and it was just a really nice sunny day, and he was sitting on this leaf, and the rains pour down, and they're pouring down, and finally the ant is whooshed away. And he starts yelling, "Help, help, the world is drowning, the world is drowning." And this grasshopper starts laughing, and he says, "Well, that's ridiculous, the world's not drowning." He says, "You're the one that's drowning." He said, "But that's the same thing, because if I'm gone, the world ceases to exist any longer."
And Baba gave the figure, you see, of simultaneously seeing and not seeing. There is a stage when you have the eyes, you see, the formation of the eyes upon you. In God's peace, He has given that figure. There comes a stage when the eyes are there. Formation, eyes are being formed, you see, in the mother's womb. It has got the faculty of seeing. Does it see? Does the child see? It doesn't see.
Consciously, you mean? Or unconsciously?
Unconsciously and consciously both.
Oh, it doesn't see unconsciously.
So the very formation of the eyes gives rise to simultaneously seeing and not seeing. A fact which is there. So consciousness and unconsciousness simultaneously projected out of him. The exchange is there when it happened. That is the primal state of God. And you know how all the states of attributes of God came into being? Baba has explained this very beautifully. God being infinite and eternal existence. He is infinite and eternal existence. And if He is infinite and eternal existence, then can there be any place and spot, anything left without His being, if He is infinite existence? If God is infinite existence, can there be any nook or corner where He is not?
No.
Huh?
No.
Cannot be. It's logical. So naturally He is at every place, every spot, isn't it? If there is any spot. So if there is any spot that defies the very word His infinite existence, so there is no spot also. That which you call His spot is where He is, not only where He is, but He is that spot too, if He is infinite.
There's no
You
escape.
see, there is no escape. So everything is He, in Him and out of Him. So He being everything, infinite existence, then there is nothing hidden from Him. He is at every place. He is everything. He is at one and the same time at here, there, everywhere. So there is nothing hidden from Him. That's why He gets the attribute of knowing everything. You can't help it but to know.
Didn't that ever make you feel like it was, why say anything or do anything?
Yeah.
At times?
Yes. It not at times, many times, it makes us absolutely dumb. It makes us absolutely, it wipes us out, makes us feel that we have no right to exist. Then what happens when he knows everything? He cannot he dare not know anything. You see. He has to know everything because he is at every place. He is that everything. You see. So therefore he gets the attribute of omniscience. And when he gets the attribute of omniscience, he knows everything. Means he knows everything. He knows how to create, he knows how to preserve, he knows how to destroy and all that. So he knows everything. So that's how he gets the attribute of being omnipotent. You see? Just all this is derived from his being infinite and eternal existence. Then he being all-knowing and all-powerful, then he cannot help but be all bliss. And bliss, remember, is quite different from your being happy and joyous and gay. So bliss is not that. Happiness involves unhappiness. Bliss doesn't involve unhappiness. Bliss is unlimited. There are no opposites in that. You see that? If you are happy, then remember, behind happiness stands in queue the unhappiness.
You don't know what happiness
You see that? So unless and until you are happy, you transcend your happiness and your unhappinesses and happinesses, you cannot have that bliss. It's beyond that, beyond duality.
So bliss isn't dual.
No.
But I thought everything had its opposite.
Nothing. In the infinite stage, there is no. How can there be? If there is infinite bliss, how can there be any scope for anything else than infinite bliss? Otherwise, it won't be infinite. Only in manynesses, in duality, there is limitation.
God
What's this?
does not forgive hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Supposing I have done an act of hypocrisy.
Come on, take this.
God does not forgive hypocrisy. And I have done an act of hypocrisy in my life. I repent for it now. So God won't forgive me for my hypocrisy.
Is that what he said? Did he say hypocrites or hypocrisy?
Hypocrisy.
You see, Baba, yes, you say, tell her what you have thought of it.
Oh, I thought he said God does not forgive hypocrites. If you're a hypocrite, then you wouldn't ask for forgiveness in the first place, would you? I mean, it wouldn't be you asking for forgiveness if you were being a hypocrite. Because being a hypocrite is being something that you're not. And so if you ask for forgiveness hypocritically, you're really not asking for forgiveness. And so why should you forgive you? To me, it's just the words, is all. And so when you decide to not become hypocritical, to be yourself, then you're not a hypocrite anymore, and so we can forgive you. I don't know, that's just the way. It depends. Did he say hypocrisy or hypocrites? You don't understand?
That's just a play on words.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
No, but what he said, if you continue to be a hypocrite, naturally your forgiveness, you are not asking for forgiveness in the right sense. So how can you expect forgiveness? That's what he says. No sooner you cease to be playing the part of a hypocrite, and hypocrisy vanishes out of you, the moment you are forgiven. But apart from all this, Baba has said that beware of hypocrisy, because one thing that God cannot forgive is hypocrisy. You see? That's what you said. So somebody asked me the question last time also, and I said, somebody attributed this to Baba, and I said, no, it's not. As far as I remember, Baba is the one who is the ocean of compassion. And rest assured that even hypocrisy is forgiven, you see, by Baba, the ocean of compassion. His infinite compassion, so he will forgive that if you sincerely call for forgiveness. So there is nothing that he cannot forgive, provided there is sincerity behind it. So God may not be able to forgive hypocrisy, but Baba will forgive if one sincerely repents for it. one pleads for forgiveness. Because he is God plus man. Which puzzled this woman, you see, and said that now don't say all these things, you have confused me and you have spoilt my stay at Mehrabad. You remember that?
I never said you spoiled my stay.
It was on the eve of your stay at Mehrabad. I said, how will I go and stay there in peace? You have forgotten, but I haven't forgotten all
that's
that.
Right. That's
yeah.
Right. You're right. You're right.
It's your own pigeon, you see, and I have to take care of it all the time.
You're right. I'm glad I have somebody to take care.
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad that you have forgotten completely. That shows that confusion was removed from your mind.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It was. Yes.
So remember one thing, that God cannot forgive hypocrisy. That's what He told us. But He, being the infinite ocean of compassion, He exercises it. God is also infinite ocean of compassion. But then God-man exercises infinite compassion. There's a world of difference, you see. You have a treasure, you see. You have a treasure in a vault there. The vault has, say, $1 million there. But does that mean that that vault is wealthy? Or it has the power to dispense of or just distribute that wealth? No. Because it's this repository of treasure. It cannot. So you, as the owner of it, so God is the treasure of all. He is the treasury. And He, the God-man, you see, is the one who dispenses all these things. So in His infinite compassion, He uses His infinite compassion to forgive. Yes?
Are we not all
Hypocrites, yes. The last time also you put that same question. We are all hypocrites, you see, as I said, unless and until we realize our true self, you see. We pose ourselves to be what we are not. But then what happens, you see, because of our mind, we genuinely feel that. There is a world of difference between genuinely feeling. From the standpoint of reality, we are all hypocrites, you see. Because we are our true selves, and yet we pose ourselves as Eruch and Rhoda and here, this and that and so forth. And now that Baba has given us the awareness and the little understanding that we understand with, that we are not ourselves, you see. We are something different than what we pose ourselves to be. So, but that doesn't mean that we are continuing to be hypocrites. We are hypocrites in one sense, but what he means, what Baba meant at the time was that posing yourself to be that which is not. We feel our helplessness, we feel our weaknesses, we feel our strength sometimes, we feel our joys and sorrows and all that. There's a composition of it, all that. And we express it. But there are people who feel all these weaknesses and the strengths and all the opposites and yet pose themselves to be, well, above all these things. So, Baba refers to that person. The hypocrisy of such a person, such an individual is not forgiven.
With the hypocrisy within the hypocrisy.
Yes. Yeah.
So if one thinks he is a saint, if he really believes
If
that,
he
he's not
really, no. How can it be? Yeah. But if he really believes that he is not that, and yet he poses himself to be that, that's hypocrisy. There are genuine souls, you see, who feel that they have got the power, they have got the experience, and they feel that they have realized God, although they have not. Little shades of light and little shades of color here and there, and they feel that they have got everything, you see, that they desired for and longed for. You see. But that's not the end of it all. That's not even the beginning.
That's getting distracted.
Yeah, that's the distraction, you see. So, but they genuinely feel it. And those who genuinely feel it, well, they derive no harm out of that genuine feeling, you see. But then, because they are not, they have not realized the true self, there are quite a few chances of their fall. So Baba therefore tells everybody to beware about it. And he tells also those genuine saints who believe that they have realized the truth. He says, remember that if you feel that you have genuinely realized your true self, remember that experience should be a continuous experience, not a continual one. There's a difference between a continual and a continuous experience.
What's the difference?
Yes, now come on, you tell me. Come on, you are here, you see. Continuous is that without a break. Continual, there is a break, you see.
But Eric, what if we really believe, if we were really to believe that we were God, then wouldn't we become God? If we really believe it.
Yes. But we are God.
So it would be good to think that.
Yeah,
we
but
really believe.
yeah. But believing and experiencing a world of difference. There's a world of difference in that, huh?
But don't you start to experience it if you keep believing it?
If you keep believing it, you don't. As long as you believe, there is doubt, you see. You have to become that. You believe. You see that?
That doubt sort of makes you go on.
Wouldn't that belief be a barrier before you and discovering yourself?
Yeah, you. That is the thing.
Yeah, God would know and accept himself as God. There'd be no room for believing.
Yeah, that's right. You have to transcend everything, you see. You have to get yourself merged, you see. You have even to discard your belief. Because believing something that implies that, the non-belief there.
So you have to go through it all.
Yeah, it is so.
Here we go.
Experiencing is quite different, than believing. Rhoda, what was your question? Are you satisfied? I am not satisfied myself yet. So why did you say that way? No, but you put me a different question, you say. You put the question in a very hypocritical way. So then the answer was hypocritical. What can I do?
So how shall I put it?
I didn't feel myself happy with the answer, you see. That's why I told you.
That's Baba.
So,
Hypocrisy.
of course.
Because it is said, God does not forgive hypocrisy. So if I have been hypocritical and I really repent for it, will Baba forgive me?
Of course. He will, definitely.
How could he not?
How could he not? Dare not.
No, if you're really sincere and you're opening your heart to him and I mean, who's the heart of all hearts, it doesn't, I mean, that's one thing that doesn't.
Yeah.
There's a story about St. Teresa, and she said that one of the worst things that she did in her life was to not go, to feel that she had been so hypocritical that she couldn't go before the altar and pray to God. That she was so bad, so that was a form of pride in herself. That had to be given up.
That had to be given up too. Everything has to be given up. Everything.
So now
one has to rise above all these things, which Baba calls it modesty. You see that?
So now explain it in the way it will satisfy you.
It has never satisfied me, you see. Because where the question of his compassion comes, you see, there are limits with it.
His compassion.
Huh?
Tell us more about his compassion.
It's a thing, you see, which just cannot be described adequately, you see. There is no limit to his compassion. He can do anything if he wishes. His compassion is so great, you see, that it need not wait for a stone to become a human being in order to realize its true self. His compassion can be exercised, you see, on a rock, you see. And the rock realizes its true being. There's no limit. You can't say anything about it. I'm so dull today. I had a very heavy breakfast, How I wish I had not eaten, again and again.
Can I ask you something?
But it keeps me away from, yes, ask.
Just something you just mentioned, and I didn't. You always think you're alone in the boat, and then you find everybody else goes the same way. Okay, it goes this thing about telling yourself, you're really nothing. You're really bad. You're really this, you're really that. You become really down on yourself. So as my friend has pointed out, it's nothing but your ego taking over, letting you know that you feel that you're better than what you're telling yourself you are. I am nothing, so if you say you're nothing, then you must feel that you're better than nothing. Right?
To be able to judge yourself.
So I want to know, you just said something about, what did you just say something about humility? You said you had to learn modesty, is that what you said?
No, you don't have to, that is modesty.
You have to get over modesty, you see. Modesty is that which comes in your way, you see, just as what she said now about Saint Teresa, that she's not worthy of approaching the altar.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the one that kept her away, you see. That created that separation, that kept her away. She exercised her ego and said that, well, I am so unworthy of approaching the Lord. Although it was there, it was a fact, it is true. She felt it that way with all her sincerity and all that.
Yes.
But still she exercised herself, you see, and said that, well, I am not unworthy. That I am not unworthy, you see. You follow? That should go away.
And no, I don't follow. Where do you go from there?
From there you become, instead of exercising your modesty, if you were to exercise your humility and say that whatever I am yours. You see?
So even though I am nothing and no good, it's all that I am, so I'm yours.
Yes, it is you, yours.
Because if you're modest, being modest implies that you already think you're something. That you already have something.
Yes, so that's what I understand. How do you get from there?
You have to even give up that.
Well, how do you do that? I mean...
Shit, you're asking me.
Yeah, that's you guys. How do you go from that to... Which is the direction? I mean, if you're just there and you keep going in circles, I'm nothing.
But why do you say that you are nothing, that you assert yourself to be nothing then? Why do you
Because
want
you
to
keep doing all these stupid things and you look at yourself and you think, God, I'm stupid. I'm really an idiot, or I'm really this or really that.
Yeah.
Because it feels better when you discourage yourself.
Yeah, but when you say it all the time, you see, you want a formula, a regular formula, you see how to get over that. So the only formula that I can think of, as I have been thinking of it, is that whatever I am yours. That's the only formula for it. I know that I am stupid, I know what a horrible person I am, I know what I am doing, I know this. What can I do? I realize it, I repent for it, but whatever I am yours, take me.
So from then he'll take over?
Yeah, that's the thing.
There again.
That is your humility, you see.
Yeah, because then you break the circle too. You kind of break the vicious circle.
So everything that I ask you, your answer is, leave it to him. Leave it to him. Yeah.
But leave it to him not in the sense, you see, that, well...
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah, leave it to him to make me get up, you see.
Yes.
Read the discourse on effort.
No, the thing is that if I were to leave it to him to allow me to get up, he will do that, on condition that I don't harp upon it. I don't get attached to my being as I am, you see. I leave it to him to make me get up means I forget that I'm sitting. You follow? Then he'll make me get up. There is a world of difference in that. I leave it to him to nourish me. So I continue to feel hungry, you know. you, as long as you continue to feel hungry, you will remain hungry.
So you have to
You have to forget your being hungry, then he nourishes you. You follow.